And I choose love, and I choose wisdom, and I choose me. Yeah, I choose me. Alright, song it's about God. I know that you might think it's odd. I might be lying in the simulation. Not sure, tripping on a grip to bring this service to your lips. I might be lying in the simulation, but it's not normal. Who wants to be normal? Who wants to be like everybody else? And we've been brainwashed to keep ourselves loved. Who wants to be like everybody else? And I choose love, and I choose freedom, and I choose possibility, and I choose love, and I choose wisdom, and I choose me. Yeah, I choose me. I know that you're gonna wonder if you're good enough for me. I can promise you that you're the universe. You're the universe. You're the universe. And I choose love. And I choose freedom. And I choose possibility, and I choose love, and I choose wisdom, and I choose me. Yeah, 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 I choose me. Open your eyes and see me. Open your heart and listen. This is my life, it's a prison. I feel love, I feel grief. Please don't take my family from me. Open your heart and listen. So much destruction. Just look at what you've done. You say that it's your choice. Why don't I get one? Open your eyes and see me. Open your mind and awaken. Realize that you're mistaken. There is no light, there is no peace. When will this torture ever cease? Open your mind and awaken. Open these gates and free me. See how I love the sun on my back. I'm just a baby and this is my curse. See how you'd feel if the roles were reversed. Open these gates and free me. So much destruction. Just look at what you've done. You say that it's your choice, but why don't I get one? Open your eyes and see me.
because so many lambs are born around lambing seasons, there is a lot of wonderful activists out there that help take them out of these places, and then there's homes that are needed. And obviously knowing Billy at the retreat, he would come and say, do you have space for this lovely resident? And it slowly built from there. So now we have 19 wonderful sheep, 6 goats, 2 pigs, and about 23 chickens I think we have now. All wonderful individuals, and that's the bit that I can't stress enough, is so many people see them as sheep, pigs, chickens. But once you spend time with them, you see them as the individuals that they are. No sheep is alike, no chicken is alike, no pig is alike. They all have such different personalities, just like humans. And I feel like that is really important for people to know.
And how can people help New Beginning Sanctuary? Like, how can we help you look after more animals? How can we help you look after the animals that you currently have?
Okay, so with every sanctuary, obviously funding is hard. There is not enough money in the world for the amount of animals that we want to save, obviously. But money aside, you don't need money to help sanctuaries. You can volunteer your own time. But that alone, being vegan and being active is the biggest thing that you can do to help sanctuaries. Because as much as sanctuaries are my favourite place to be, I don't want them to exist. I don't want us to have sanctuaries. I don't want to have to keep animals away from harm. I want them to be free from harm in the normal day-to-day. Being active and speaking up for the animals and stopping the amount of animals that are in need of these sanctuaries is the most important.
Thank you very much.
Of harrowing, unrelenting animal cruelty. And as I started to campaign about them more and more, I realized that the problem was more deep-rooted, more systemic than I'd ever realized, and that in fact, every single vestige of civility and civilization, our food, our clothing, our entertainment, cultural traditions like Christmas and Easter, is underpinned by the suffering of the weak and the vulnerable. 6 years ago, I became vegan in protest, in rebellion, in anguish. It has been a journey of both joy and despair. Joy because advocacy for animals is my lifeblood. Joy because I've been released from myths of consumption and exploitation. But despair and grief because the killing never ends. We live in a world where every day animals are fighting for their lives, where they struggle to get back up when they slip in the blood of their brothers and sisters, to get back to each other, to comfort each other in places of horror and death. They want only peace, they want affection, they want safety, they want the company of each other. And you know better than I the pitiful inadequacy of their efforts against the sheer onslaught coming their way, the seemingly indomitable will to use them, harm them, exploit them. You know better than I how rare it is for them to find their way to sanctuary and to the love and care they so deserve. Animals are brothers and sisters in this broken world we have built for them, the most innocent of us all. I always find new ways in which humans have exploited animals, and recently on my social media feeds I came across bullfighting. And I know about bullfighting, of course. What I did not know was that before they're released into the ring, they are kept in isolation, in dark cells without food and water for days before the fight, that right before the fight they're stabbed with sharp harpoons, that their horns are shaved so that they don't understand the weight of their head anymore. And in this terrible state, they are then released into this ring where they have to fight for their lives. And there are countless incidences of bulls trying to get back to the people who've raised them, or trying just to escape, to get out of that ring. They don't want to fight, they're scared. And then this one image came up on my social media feed, and it was an image of a matador and a bull facing each other, and the bull standing there with the swords in his back, and the matador sitting exhausted in front of him, and the bull still reaching out with his head to make some kind of contact with the man who had been hurting him so badly just minutes before. And I looked at this image and I thought this gesture could only be read in this way. Peace now, brother. Enough now. And I tell you this story to remind you of the depths that we have reached in our relationship with animals, but also the depths from which we can rise. So I have come to understand these two things. The first, that animals are our way, if we allow them to be, into a far deeper connection with the natural world than we have so far experienced. And that every encounter with every animal is a moment of magic, of true joy, a communion with the ecology of the earth that we so desperately need now. The second thing, as I have watched the world crumble and nature destroyed and countries slip into ever more brutal wars, like the genocide in Gaza, that all turmoil is created by constructed narratives of power and the expendability, the exploitation of the innocent and vulnerable. All oppressions are truly linked. And that until we address our broken relationship with animals, the most vulnerable of us all, we will never be able to address the other systemic disasters, the other injustices threatening life on this planet today. Animal rights is our ground zero. All these thoughts come together in the words of my friend Leonard Fitzpatrick. It is in the hearts and through the eyes of non-human animals that we have the chance to discover the essence of true humanity, the immutable power of nature's complex richness, and the innate right of all beings to inhabit and live in this world, their world, a world they share with us. For many, the jarring reality they are afraid to confront and accept is this: this world and all within it exists for its own purpose, not for us to control and own and degrade and destroy. It's not all about us, period. When we collectively awaken and respect all life without any condition and cease the abuse, exploitation and cruelty to others, non-human and human, we will finally reach our potential as stewards and fellow beings equally respectful of the rights of all to live upon this earth, our potential as stewards, as the caretakers of life that we were always meant to be, in a natural world that is flourishing and restored, in which we stand up for the chance of a stable planet for our children and for all other species. This is the collective spiritual transformation that we could achieve when we finally recognize our true kinship with other animals. And so the time has come to detoxify, depoliticize veganism, animal rights activism, to reclaim those terms from the myths that continue to plague them, and instead embrace them, proclaim them for the philosophies of deep compassion that they have always been, the beliefs they have always embodied, that of life, of love for all life on earth. And we need to prepare the ground for that transformation by raising the status of animals wherever we see them being sidelined. And when we leave this place in every gesture with intelligence, with sensitivity, with determination, we bring the animals back into the center of people's consciousnesses, where they belong. And we remind them of their grace and beauty and how much we have to learn from animals, to the point where it becomes impossible for anyone to eat them or hurt them or enslave them, because we will have finally evolved beyond that. I want to close now with two thoughts, and the first is to you, the activists, in the words of Philip Wallen. Animal rights activists like you are the bravest of all first responders, because you confront a deeply entrenched status quo of vested interests, industry, politics and culture. You are Lincoln's better angels of our nature, the beacon on the hill, and a day will dawn when civilization will owe you a debt of gratitude it can never repay. And I believe that so much of everyone sitting here today. And finally, to the animals, in the words of Emma Hurst, member of the New South Wales Legislative Council in Australia, Our promise to the animals is this: you have all of us. The lioness in the circus, we see you. The pig in the sow stall, we see you. The mouse in the medical experimentation facility, we see you. The fish crushed at the bottom of the trawler net, we see you. The fox hunted, we see you. The mother cow who's lost her baby, we see you. We see you. We know you're suffering, and we will never be silent. We will push forward no matter what life throws our way, because the cruelties inflicted on you must end, and we will do all we can to see that happen. You have all of us. Thank you.
Poem. Enjoy. It's called If I Could Wake Up on a Vegan Planet. If I could wake up on a vegan planet, how peaceful it would be. No animal was murdered for the pleasure, selfishly. That we didn't quarter, fry and carve and pair it with the perfect glass. Pull skin, drill horns or suckle teats, just to make a cheeky little something sweet. Now I've rhymed a little to settle in, the perfect rhythm to begin. Cause hi, I'm Anastasia, been vegan for 6 years. And if I could wake up on a vegan planet, how hopeful it would be. Not waking up to the smell of charred flesh, not having to fight for morality, not being judged for the choice not to kill. Our love of Mother Earth restored, fulfilled. Because where does the medicine come from? Plants. Where does our protein come from? Plants. Where does our life force come from? Plants. To add a murdering filtration system? We can't. If I could wake up on a vegan planet, how joyful it would be. To place my hand against the grass and not feel the acres of torture surrounding me. The lies we hear separating meat from murder, the farce. Forward to a world of oppression, control and subjugation. The rewind to silence and manipulation. Yet we are so fickle in our temporary senses, and the lies we're force-fed like a cow. Breeder, addicted to the cries of pain. Herd, feeder. Silent to not inflict pain, the irony. If I could wake up on a vegan planet, how silent it would be. The war inside us won, and speciesism rooted. Vegan for all the animals, not spoken through a megaphone, nor the screams of dogs and cats shared on all our phones. Our vibration of peace, of love, of safety for all, those animals to be alive. Now, if I were a fish swimming in the sea, would you even notice me? I could just live. And all you humans could too. World hunger solved, food scarcity solved, all history. So I'd rather be vegan. So I could wake up on a vegan planet, and how alive it feels. Centered and grounded, peaceful and loving. I really, really like it here. Be vegan. Now, often people ask me how difficult it is to stop choosing murder. Well, I say, if you like animals, you wouldn't think twice, or are you just a pet lover? I say that when your intention is true, habits form effortlessly. So ask yourself how you became so comfortable. Desperately, your body asked to consume less suffering. So stop accepting such pain because you're buckling, buffering, spluttering. There is no excuse for animal abuse. So don't eat, ride or wear, test on or stare. Take the sign, take the leap, listen to what we say. Because what better way to start than on National Animal Rights Day? Be vegan.
Give it up for Anastasia! That was so beautiful. Next.
What we have seen in the past 10 years have been incredible. I mean, in the past year, we have also had some amazing victories. I mean, just to think about the clothing industry, for example, and how animal skins are used. Am I not? I don't often use these microphones. So, but yeah, in the clothing industry, for example, you know, we have seen brands dropping cashmere, Angora, obviously fur, exotic skins. You know, we've seen Canada Goose drop coyote fur. House of Fraser stopped using Angora. You know, Burberry has stopped using exotic skins. You know, these are huge brands, and they are all clicking onto the fact that animals are not skins, and they're certainly not ours to wear. And it's been incredible seeing that change on the high street and, at fashion weeks and, at the luxury high-end department stores as well. Also, it's crazy just going back a bit further than the past year. Like in my time at PETA, when I first started, there was still wild animal circuses in the UK, which is mind-blowing when you think about it now, because of course they're illegal here. They're illegal in almost every other European country. We're also seeing travel agents, not promoting elephant rides in Asia, which, again, when I was back at university, everyone was going off onto their gap year and riding an elephant, and now that's pretty much a banned policy, which is incredible. And marine parks, just the other month we had Jet2 Holidays cut ties with Laurel Parquet, and all other facilities that hold orca whales and dolphins captive, which again, back when I started, Blackfish had just come out. So seeing this huge movement of people really just seeing animals as individuals has been so powerful. And of course the vegan movement, again, 10 years ago, there wasn't vegan Ben & Jerry's, there wasn't vegan Domino's. You were lucky if you had one type of vegan cheese in the supermarket. And now you can walk down, any high street and you can get a Greggs sausage roll. You can get a burger at Nando's. Like, it really just is incredible the steps that have been taken in terms of the vegan food movement. And yeah, it's just been absolutely amazing to see more and more people realizing this.
And I think this is empowered to, come on, give it up, let's go.
Yeah.
This is empowered to PETA, but to everyone's individual actions and what everyone is doing with their family. So what could you say from like an activism perspective and what we could do more? Have there been any obstacles and what can we do to surmount these?
Yeah, so PETA's founder, Ingrid Newkirk, she could say it a hell of a lot better than I could. But she always reminds, whenever she's doing these interviews, that it is on us to provoke conversation, because people have been taught to disregard the feelings of cows and pigs and chickens and bears and fish. And it is on us to challenge that status quo, rock the boat. It's not a popularity contest. What we're trying to do is to get people thinking, and that's why certainly at PETA, we try and find an approach that works for everyone. That's why we do the protests, it's why we do undercover investigations, it's why we'll do vegan food giveaways, or my department, we do a lot of the more quirky PR stunt stories that you might see, and it's because everyone is moved by something different, and that's why it's so powerful for all of us to just never stop talking about animals, because we know that silence is any social justice cause's worst enemy. And that's why, especially nowadays in this, age of social media, we can all be micro-influencers. You can either make your own content or you can share someone else's, but it is incredible how far that can spread the word, when it might, it might seem sort of performative activism, but at the same time, not everyone likes going up to people in the street or handing out leaflets. But that being said, PETA does offer free materials that anyone can hand out. We have vegan starter kits, we have leaflets. If you are someone who can take to the streets and talk about it with strangers, amazing. If you're someone who would like to leave them in, the doctor's waiting room or on a bus, do that too. It's amazing what people will pick up when, they're at a loose end. So there are so many ways that we can all be activists in our day-to-day. It doesn't have to be something as momentous as this, as incredible as it is to see. It's about those small actions that we all take day-to-day that add up and just get people thinking.
I think just being vegan is activism in itself, and I think that there is no wrong way to do activism. I think that using your voice, like you said, in every situation, and often we're forced into activism as vegans. Would you agree with that? Because you can't escape a day where you have to explain yourself to someone as to why you can't eat this or why you can't do this. So at the end of it, just existing as a vegan is so powerful, and I think that you've really brought that to life today. What do you see for the future? What's next for PETA? What's happening?
Well, we've got we've always got big campaigns coming up, but we are actually approaching the start of bullfighting season in Spain. So next month, PETA is going to be in Pamplona doing a huge protest against the running of the bulls, which of course is an archaic spectacle, which most Spanish people do not support either. And we do this with a Spanish animal rights group called Anima Naturalis. And we are very much calling for the mayor of Pamplona to end all bullfighting. So anyone who would like to support that campaign, you can find out more on the PETA website. We are also campaigning against the University of Bristol to end the cruel forced swim test, which, for anyone who has not heard of this very niche experiment, it is when a mouse or a rat is dropped into an inescapable beaker of water and they are forced into a drowning simulation. And then the experimenters measure the animal's level of despair when they start to float and stop swimming. And then after this horrific near drowning experience, they are then killed and their brains are dissected. And we have recently heard from the Home Office that they are going to place restrictions on this experiment, which means that the University of Bristol is really being backed into a corner and all eyes are on them, but they are still managing to get away with using it. And that's why we're really amping up our campaign, calling on them to end it.
Nice one. That's amazing. And so I saw that there are some jobs available at PETA at the moment as well. So for someone who might be looking to work within PETA or within the animal rights industry, maybe you could talk a little bit about the jobs if you know about some of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's none in my department at the moment, but I believe we are hiring a new regulatory scientist, if we've got any of those in the crowd. I believe we're looking for people in our supporter services team, which is a hugely important role because it involves answering many of the member of the public's questions about why we do what we do. I believe there's also a digital marketing role going. And at PETA, it really is, we are looking for people like you. It is about people who care about animals and who want to make every day, as you said, we are all activists because we're vegan, but also when you get to do that as a job, as I said, I've been at PETA for 10 years and it has been the most incredible 10 years I could have wished for, and every day I'm so grateful that I get to do things like this and speak out for animals and go on TV to speak out about animals and debate some awful people to get them thinking about animals. And yeah, I really couldn't recommend it enough, and I know that PETA has the jobs listed on their website and also LinkedIn, or you can obviously just message me as well.
Is amazing. Give it up for Jennifer White. Thank you so much, Jennifer. All right, cool. Next, Chris Hines.
Do their best to ignore, or in some cases, even ridicule. Across the United Kingdom, over 300,000 farms hold innocent life captive. Their only crime being a different species. And with each of these individuals having the date of their own execution planned from the second they enter this world. In our oceans, be it by hooks, nets, or even spears, we forcibly drag others from their homes to suffocate and suffer to death on the ship's deck. Or maybe by hanging by a hook through their face for someone's sick idea of a hobby. Laboratories hold prisoners to burn, dissect, and poison, all in the name of apparent scientific progress. Zoos display captives in wire cages and glass tanks, all for our entertainment under the guise of conservation. While outside, we trade their bodies, breeding and selling those that we deem worthy to keep as property in our houses. We force them to risk their lives for sport. We commodify their bodies for fashion, and we separate families to steal their bodily fluids. The war on animals is relentless, brutal, and unforgiving. If we take a look at just those animals killed for food in the UK in a single year, this equates to over 6 billion individuals. That would equate to killing around 75% of the entire world's population in 1 year. The death count and suffering of this war cannot be understated. Yet despite urgency and the scale, the world remains silent, taught to accept the suffering, fed propaganda that what is happening is necessary, and fed lies that something humane happens along the way. This war is so unacknowledged, in fact, that even their own movement's allies failed to stand up for them, leaving the fight to the 1% of the 1%, like people like you today. The rest seemingly happy to stand up for every other world issue, but the vegan issue they proudly identify as in their social media bios and in their usernames. When literally trillions of animals worldwide are being enslaved and killed, how am I not stood here talking to thousands of people right now? Do their lives matter that little? We all agree that discrimination's wrong. Racism, sexism, homophobia, xenophobia, classism. Isn't it time that speciesism had a spot at the table? How can we claim to be against oppression while we literally oppress every non-human being on this planet? How can we really talk about justice and equality while shoving the dead bodies of others in our mouths while we do so? Animals may be different to us, but they are the same in every way that matters. They feel, they are sentient, they can suffer, they are others, not objects, and they deserve respect and our protection. Now, as someone who's been involved in undercover work over the years, I have witnessed firsthand how we use and abuse animals in this society, and it is shameful and sickening. Mother pigs trapped in cages for weeks on end where they can't turn around. Helpless birds bred to become so big they can't support their own body weight and collapse and die from not being able to reach food and water. Dairy mothers lying weak and helpless on a concrete floor after seeing their children born and stolen away from her so many times, her body can't take any more. And I've lost count of how many times I've looked these animals in the eye just moment from death at the slaughterhouses. I don't want to hear, oh, but our farm doesn't treat them this way. Oh, I only buy free range, and all these other bullshit excuses. There is no humane way to use, exploit, and kill someone. It's nothing more than a fairy tale to keep people blind, keep the money rolling in, and it is disgusting. The things I've witnessed will stay with me forever. And it's time for all of us to make a stand and say enough is enough. This ends now.
Yes, this ends now. This ends now.
I truly believe the adoption of veganism is one of the most radical acts of justice a person can make. No other justice issue that I'm aware of requires so much immediate personal change. From the day you become vegan, you are against 99% of society. From everything you eat, every item you buy, everywhere you visit, every choice you make is now guided by a moral requirement to eliminate animal use from your life, and you are literally surrounded by it. You risk becoming an outcast, being ridiculed, having to defend yourself about people who are triggered by your choices. And you know what? You should be damn fucking proud of yourself. Being brave enough to stand up for what is right in a world that is totally against you. For someone who actually takes action and doesn't just virtue signal. But things shouldn't stop there. Being vegan is incredible. But if we want to see liberation for these animals, we need to do more than just not partake in their exploitation. We need to actively fight against it. Now, unlike a lot of issues in this world, this issue is something we can actually do something against, because we are the oppressor. These animal exploiting industries exist because we demand they exist. We are literally paying the hitman. And because of this, we have the power to turn people against the system and work together in pressuring these industries to stop for good. Without support, they are nothing. This is how we build a movement. This is how we push for animal liberation. And people need to see that the animal rights cause is serious. This is not a joke. Yet, with human issues seemingly always being the focus of attention, we are continually told this isn't the time. If not now, when? When is the right time to stand up for animals? We can't wait for humans to just sort out all their problems before we deal with the animals. They were here before us. And when in the time I've made this speech, more animals have been killed than the population of this entire country, why are we not capable of caring about more than one thing at a time? The animals need us now.
Yes.
If you're not on board yet, now is the time. Stop looking for excuses, wake up, do the right thing. Veganism is just a stance against animal abuse. It's not weird, it's not extreme, it's having a heart and standing up for what's right. I truly believe we are all good people and no one wants this happening to animals. And I just really hope my words today can help dismantle some of that conditioning you may have. Please join us in their fight for freedom. And if you're already vegan, now is the time to take action and speak even louder. Don't be afraid to use your voice. Be proud to be part of this movement. And remember that you have the power to create real-world, tangible change for animals who desperately need their freedom. Get angry, shout loud, speak up for them like you would want to be spoken about if you were in their position. This hell needs to end. And we are literally all these animals have. Please don't let them down. Thank you for listening.
I became a member of the Animal Welfare Party and have since taken part in various general and local elections. For me, standing in the elections is about bringing the issues of animal rights and speciesism into the public discourse and advocating for systemic changes that could lead to a better world for all animals. Despite animals being a significant part of our cities, unfortunately their rights and welfare are seen as fringe issues, unworthy of political platform. And this must change. Animals can no longer be fringe. We must demand a new era of compassionate policies. And we can achieve this by being politically active and by moving towards more and more of us standing as candidates in local and general elections, raising our voices and the animal rights profile. The political arena allows us to amplify our message further.
Planet Theirs Too, inspired by obviously the t-shirts today. So, our planet, theirs too. Why should it matter that one goes moo? Sounds different to you, yes, but sentient nonetheless. Feels suffering much the same, tries to escape in the presence of pain. Our planet, theirs too. Why should it matter that one goes cluck? Is it a bird, a plane, a duck? In a cage, they all feel stuck. Trapped with only one fate, a roasted bird upon your plate. Our planet, theirs too. Why should it matter that one goes nay? To be rode on just for play? It wasn't intended to be this way. To gallop should be to be free, not weighed down by human decree. Our planet, theirs too. Why should it matter, or why should you care? Top of the chain they shout. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Causing suffering because we can. Oh, what a wonderful plan. But the suffering we can stop. It does little to stay on top. We can live in peace and love. No need to release some doves. Our planet, theirs too. Because if you were them, you'd scream it too.